Good afternoon, Olive, Arlo, and Frank. Raspy voice Grandpop coming to you from the living room in Jack's Beach. It's been really hot here. It's been in the low to mid 90s for about a week. And today it was delightful outside. It only got up to like 88. But life is good. We're going to look today at what does the Bible mean to specific people. And who are these people, you may ask? Well, what does it mean? Let's get this right. There we go. What does this mean to the original audience? Whoever heard it, read it. What does it mean to the Jewish people today? Very important. What does it mean to the world at large? What does it mean to the Christian church? And finally, what's it mean to me? So, let's read this. You are the salt of the earth. But if salt loses its flavor, how can it be made salty again? It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled on by people. And they're talking about they would throw it. It does snow sometimes in Jerusalem, and they would throw it out on the temple steps so that people wouldn't slip coming into worship. You are the light of the world. A city located on a hill cannot be hidden. People do not light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a lampstand, then it gives light to all in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before people, so that they can see your good deeds and give honor to your Father in heaven. And, well, let's go through our criteria. What's it mean to the original audience? Well, who was the original audience? At the end of chapter 4, it says, in verse 23, Jesus went throughout all of Galilee, teaching in their synagogues, preaching the gospel of the kingdom, and healing every kind of disease and sickness among the people. So a report about him spread throughout Syria. So we're talking about not the Holy Land, but above there in Syria. That's right on the northern border of Israel is with Lebanon and Syria. People brought to him all who suffered with various illnesses and afflictions, those who had seizures, paralytics, and those possessed by demons, and he healed them. And large crowds followed him from Galilee, the Decapolis, Jerusalem, Judea, and beyond the Jordan. And they're all parts of the Holy Land, Israel. Now in chapter 5, when he saw the crowds, he went up the mountain. And after he sat down, his disciples came to him. Then he began to teach them by saying, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for the kingdom of heaven belongs to them." And then he does the Sermon on the Mount, chapters 5, 6, and 7. And at the end of chapter 7, he says in verse 28, when Jesus finished saying these things, The crowds were amazed by his teaching because he taught them like one who had authority, not like the experts of the law. So, first, determine who was the original audience. Well, he taught in the synagogues, and then he went out into the general population and he healed people. So, it's a diverse audience spread over a great area in and outside of the Holy Land. Well, what's the background? There's a large group of people following him like he's the Grateful Dead. And wherever he goes, they go. He goes across the lake, and if he's hugging the side over here, they'll just go around and, hey, we're following him. If they can see him, they're going to follow which direction he's going in. And then sometimes he goes across the lake, and they go, oh, and then they have to figure out the fastest way to get around the lake to get to him. But yeah, the original Deadheads. Now, how did they hear it? They heard the Sermon on the Mount, which this is a small portion of, in an amphitheater, an outdoor venue. There was a large crowd of people, and he got up and spoke. So they heard it in person, word of mouth, directly from Jesus. And then eventually, people like us hear it by reading the Bible. But that's going to be the last part of every one of these. But yeah, we hear it because we read the Bible. So what did they hear? Salt was something that was around them. They were in the vicinity, very close to the Dead Sea, with all these salt mines. I mean, that was something that they had a lot of, had salt. Salt has a noble and common purpose. It was used to preserve meats, and like I mentioned before, when it lost its saltiness, and I don't know if it ever really loses its saltiness, but another purpose of it is to de-ice things. And then light was produced by an oil lamp. And they had to cultivate olives to produce olive oil to light these lamps. These are all olive oil lamps. That whole area of the world, until modern times, used olive oil as their primary, source of fuel for lamps for lighting. So you have to cultivate that, and it's only for a noble purpose. So salt had a noble and a common purpose, but this is only a noble purpose. So you're salt and you're light. So you're something that can be used in a common way, but maybe noble. But you're also light, something that can be used only in a noble manner, unless you put a lid on it and you can't see the light. So let's see. So wait a minute here. I think we're going too fast. Well, no, we're not. That's where we are. So what's this mean to the Jewish people today? First off, if they read this, they can learn some of their history, even though Jewish people, non-believers, they don't believe the New Testament. But it's not like they think 100% of it's incorrect. If they read it, they can at least learn something about that particular part of history in their culture, in their people. And the Sermon on the Mount harkens back to the book of Deuteronomy. And let me read this. In Deuteronomy 27, verse 9, it says, "Then Moses and the Levitical priests spoke to all Israel, 'Be quiet and pay attention, Israel. Today you have become the people of the Lord your God. You must obey him and keep his commandments and statutes that I am giving you today.' And moreover, Moses commanded the people that day, 'The following tribes must stand to bless the people on Mount Gerizim when you cross the Jordan.' And it was these tribes: Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Joseph, and Benjamin. And these other tribes must stand for the curse on Mount Ebal, the tribes of Reuben, Gad, Asher, Zebulun, Dan, and Naphtali." And they actually, in Joshua chapters 26 and 27, they did this. They show it, in detail. But Jesus doesn't talk about blessings and curses. Jesus only gives the blessings. He'll give plenty of curses in the Gospels, but these are only blessings. And another thing, they can learn why Christians love Israel. When they start to read the New Testament, they can see that, oh yeah, Christians love this land because they worship a rabbi. And I'm not being facetious. And then ultimately, so that they can become, let's see if this is, so that they become believers in Yeshua. And Yeshua is Jesus in Hebrew. In Romans 11, it says this: "So I ask God, and so I ask, God has not rejected his people, has he? Absolutely not. For I am an Israelite, a descendant of Abraham." So this is Paul speaking. He's saying from the tribe of Benjamin. God has not rejected his people whom he foreknew. So he hasn't rejected them because he already knew what they were going to do to mess up. He knew that. He knows that we're going to mess up. Trust me, he knows. Although I told you not to trust me on that. He knows. Do you not know what the scripture says about Elijah, how he pleads with God against Israel? "Lord, they have killed your people, your prophets. They have demolished your altars. I alone am left, and they are seeking my life." But God said, "You're wrong. I have 7,000 people there that you don't even know about." There's plenty of Jewish believers. And I'm not going to go off into too much of this, but there are plenty of people who are Jewish who believe in Yeshua, HaMashiach, the Messiah, Jesus the Messiah. And we welcome into the community. We're grafted into them. They're not grafted into us. So we're good. So let's go on. What does it mean to the world? What does it mean? That Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. You need him in your life because you want the truth. You want to know the way to go, to be, I don't want to say successful, but to be joyful. Mortality is not graded on a curve. When you die, you're going to go one place or another. It's, an off-on switch. You either win or you lose. Pick the right one. You want the way? Well, follow his way, and you'll find the truth, and you'll have the life. Because only he can save you. So that's what the world needs to know about this passage. He's the way, the truth, and the life, and that only he can save you. So, what's it mean to the Christian church? Well, it's our mission statement. Every company has, or they should, have a mission statement that they can say, hey, everybody who works here, this is what we want. This is, the energy we want to have. This is the direction we want to go in organization. Well, that's this for us. We're to be salt and light. Oops, I forgot to do that. So they can taste and see that the Lord is good. How blessed is the one who takes shelter in him. And that's Psalm 34:8. So you want to be the salt that allows them to taste, and the light that allows them to see. And that brings us to what it means to me. So you want to ask yourself, how does this affect me as a man or a woman, boy or girl, for two of you? Second, as a son or a daughter, if you are one of those. How does this affect me as a spouse? As a parent? How does it affect you? Does it cause you to want to be light? Be it. Does it cause you to want to be salt? Be it. Different things. Salt is the low road, sometimes high road, and light is the high all the time road. So what's this that we're looking at right here? This is the word in ancient Greek, charis. And charis means grace, kindness, and life. It's also the name of a goddess in Greek mythology. She was a member of something called the Carites. And the Carites personified beauty and grace. And when it comes to Christianity, charis is grace. So, peace out, and above all, because you can't have peace until you have grace, charis.